So I got into the network test. I didn't expect to receive a key. I am glad that I got in though. I had a lot of fun with it. There was a lot of interesting stuff to see. Rather than one long video, I'm going to be splitting this up into a series. I think that'll be easier to produce, and there will be less wait time per video. This series is going to be mostly focused on my general takeaways and speculation. Unlike the gameplay preview, I'm not going to cover every single enemy, item, location, or whatever. There's stuff that I missed when I was testing, and I won't be covering that in particular. I'm mostly going to focus on stuff that I encountered firsthand. So, because this is a network test, keep in mind everything is subject to change. A lot of the cooler gear and spells may be way later in the game. Dungeons and landmarks, items, enemies, bosses, and whatnot are probably going to be in different locations. The game might even start elsewhere. The Dark Souls 3 network test started in more or less the second area after the tutorial. Not only will locations be different, but there's probably going to be some significantly different tuning as well. Based on what I've seen, I think there may have been some lower level versions of spells and skills made for the test. In the final game, some of that stuff may be much higher level. Before I get too deep into this, I have to state, nobody's allowed to capture or stream anything from the network test, with the sole exception of Australia. I'd imagine some bigger content creators probably have some special arrangements in order to produce content. That being said, there's generally no enforcement for this sort of thing. So far, this seems to be similar to the earlier network tests for Dark Souls 2 and 3. I think the restrictions are generally meant to catch people covering glitches, or out-of-bounds exploits, or disparaging content. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what I see so far. I'm generally hoping the network test represents the final game. I would imagine that might be the case. Dark Souls 2 is the only game that seemed to be a major exception to that. Now, regarding difficulty and balance, the network test seems to be pretty early in the game, so even if the game seems pretty easy, I'd imagine the late game difficulty ramps up quite a bit. PvP strategy and the meta and whatnot is probably going to be wildly different. It'll probably take a week or two after release before we really see what people come up with. As I said before, my overall impressions are really good. While I'll be going into more detail in later videos, this seems to be a general sea change in polish, tuning, and quality of life.